We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant, and I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point, a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this, an alternative world branched off.
Good morning and welcome to another edition, the second edition of 15 Minutes of Flame. I'm Robert Phoenix, right here in the center of South Central Texas, Austin, capital of the state, also home to one Alex Emmerich Jones. I would call Alex a rival because he's got millions of listeners, and I have a stalwart group of very steady and loyal listeners. So we're not really rivals. Competitors, no. But I think in some sense, there is a little bit of a competition kind of piece going on in my world, in my head. I have to. I'm a man. This is what we do sometimes. Right. Well, welcome to this edition. It is the September 13th edition of 15 Minutes of Flame. And I'm going to be talking about Hillary Clinton in a big way for the majority of this broadcast. If any of you follow me on Facebook or on my website, I don't really do Twitter. I need to do Twitter obviously more, but I just don't because I just see so many car wrecks and casualties on Twitter. But if you've been following my work, I've been predicting that Hillary Clinton was going to drop out of the race. And in fact, my prediction was that she would go into a hospital and we would never see her again. And I started talking about this roughly about a month ago and had been hinting at it prior to that. Now, I know everybody likes to take credit for predictions. Like, I was here first. I got here first. I was one that said this first. But I was pretty out in front of this. Now, this is a kind of an amazing symbolic occurrence that this all happened at 9/11. Because there are layers and layers and layers of meaning that's associated with it. First of all, we have the collapse of the Twin Towers, and we have the collapse of an American icon. We have the collapse of a dark and tainted legacy. We have the collapse of a criminal crime syndicate right before our very eyes. And yet, before we start dancing on the corpse of Hillary Clinton and celebrating in a collective orgy of Schadenfreude, we've got to be really, really careful about what we wish for, because what's coming in the wake of Hillary Clinton is going to be something that we've never seen before and could actually throw this election into a very interesting, bizarre, and difficult place. Now, one of the people I've been talking about replacing Hillary Clinton is Joe Biden. And Joe Biden has been promised the presidency at some point along his littered path as a politician. He's a consummate insider. He is from Delaware. He was a senator from Delaware. And if you knew anything about Delaware, all it is a series of zip codes for multinational corporations. That's what Delaware was set up for. That's what he governed. He governed zip codes, and he knows these corporations inside and out. Biden has a chart that's very similar to Hillary Clinton. He is a Scorpio rising. He's more Scorpio rising than Hillary is. He also has his son in the 12th house like Hillary. So he's another behind the scenes person. Biden's problem is that he drinks. He drinks a lot. And when he drinks, he is incredibly sloppy. And I don't know if there's an army of clones for Biden. There might be. I've never seen him take a trip to Camp David. But I think that it's going to be really important that Joe Biden stay off the sauce if he's going to debate Donald Trump, because Donald Trump will absolutely shred Joe Biden. Now, here's the wild card in all this. The wild card is that they have been discussing Michelle Obama as Joe Biden's running mate. If that happens, if Michelle Obama is put on the ticket to be vice president, then this election goes in a very, very different direction. And now Trump has to not only take on Biden, but he has to take on Michelle Obama. And Michelle Obama, in a debate with his buddy from Indiana, Mike Pence, I don't know. I don't know how Mike Pence will fare. Michelle Obama is a bulldog Capricorn. She was a lousy lawyer, not a great first lady, or whatever her assignation is. That could be really interesting, by the way. I mean, what if Trump starts to call Michelle Obama a tranny? I mean, he's done everything else, right? I mean, he's gone right after Hillary. He's gone right after Jeb Bush. He went right after Bubble Boy Marco Rubio. So what if he starts to come out and talk about Michelle Biden as being on the AC/DC side of the equation? I wouldn't put it past Trump, although it seems highly unlikely. But we're entering into absolutely uncharted territory before in this country. But I think, again, if we look at the symbolism of what happened with Hillary Clinton on 9/11, at 9/11, and the absolute fall of an established kind of hierarchy, it is mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. So if you're looking for any kind of symbolic relief about what's taking place and what we can expect to come as a result of this, buckle your seatbelts, because we're in for a ride over the course of the next 50-plus days as we race towards the election. This is going to be an election that is going to be talked about for decades. This is where the world is at a pivot moment. Now, I did a big interview, a 2-hour interview on Off Planet Radio with Randy Moggins and Emily Moyer, and we got into the ramifications of what might happen should Hillary collapse. And that's what I talked about on Saturday night at 9:10. It was actually kind of bleeding into Sunday morning here in South Central Texas, and I talked about Hillary Clinton's collapse. I talked about how we're never going to see her again. So this is going to be an absolutely pivotal time in terms of where we're headed with the world. We got into Trump. We got into the whole kind of machinations between Trump and his handlers and the deep state and the neocons, because Trump has basically taken the 9/11 message and become a gatekeeper with it. Astrologically, the 9/11 message is up, and it's going to come up in a very big way. Mark the weekend before the election. This is a very important time astrologically, because that's when transiting Saturn in Sagittarius finally begins to oppose the natal Saturn in Gemini in the 9/11 chart. This is the last time it's going to happen. So if we're going to have any kind of seismic event, it's going to happen then. What could it be? It could be another 9/11 style event, a false flag before the election. Look, everything is on the table right now. Discard anything you know about the election process. Just throw it away, because we're in a different part of the universe. And this is a time where things can actually be moving towards an interesting resolution. Out of chaos is, Ordo ad chao, out of chaos, order. Chaos is one of those things that theoretically the ruling elite or the power elite love. It is the destabilizing force. And through that destabilizing force, things can happen. They call it creative chaos. That is also available to us, by the way. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with chaos. I don't blame them. Chaos is a very difficult energy to handle. I've lived with it all my life. So I know a little bit about chaos, and I know a little bit about navigating through it. There is energy in chaos. So instead of being down, instead of being depressed, instead of feeling as if the walls are closing in, celebrate, rejoice, because there is energy in the air. There is palpable, snap, crackling, popping energy. And the people who are creating the events, creating the domino effect and hoping to capitalize on it, they don't own the franchise. It is not solely theirs to tap into and exploit. Energy is energy. Let go. Let go of your concerns for safety, security, and push off the shore. This is an important time for not only the world and the collective, but for you as well. Take heart, have a little faith, and get ready. Get ready to ride the rails of a time that we've never seen in recent history, perhaps ever on this planet. It's about to get good, and you're a part of the story. That's your 15 Minutes of Flame. I'm Robert Phoenix.